Coach, what is it about this team that just finds a way to win close games in the end, especially on the road?
I think the early part of the early part of our schedule where we had some close games that we lost, we certainly learned from them, and hopefully that's helped us in the WAC play when we've been in these close games. But you just hope and pray that they remember all of the situations we put them in practice, and you can't call timeouts, obviously, and stop play like you can in practice to try to teach. And I just think with experience, you learn, to be a better decision maker and understand time and score. And we've made poor decisions. We haven't made all the right decisions. And then in the end, players make plays, and you got to trust them, and you got to just kind of let them play a little bit at times, and hope that they, could make a big shot. And that's probably been the biggest thing is we've had different guys step up and make big plays when we really needed it. And, I think once you win a game like that, it breeds confidence going forward. And our guys are very confident. There's no panic in them whatsoever going down the stretch. And it seems like their focus and their energy level almost rises to the occasion at times.
Have you been a part of a game like Thursday's where you're down 8 points with 45 seconds left and you come back like that?
I have, as an assistant coach. When I was at Wichita State, we were on the road, and we had a very, very similar situation where it looked pretty rough for us to pull out a win. And when you play with a little desperation and you're not worried about making mistakes, and you have to turn them over, and you have to steal the ball, it's a little bit easier, because you're not worried about getting beat. And that's kind of what happened Thursday is we turned them over 4 times in a row, and it was different people making defensive plays. And the offensive team tends to, cower with the ball a little bit and scoreboard watch too much to see if that clock will keep moving. And, I think that, came into play as well. And then obviously to overcome, that kind of deficit in that amount of time, you need a little bit of a luck, a little bit of a bounce, here and there. And I think we had that too.
What did Utah Valley do to get I think you had to come back a little bit on round 2 and not win. So what did they do to get their lead?
Well, we went into a place where they had won, I think, 22 or 23 in a row, and they've proven to be a really good basketball team, especially at home. And they did what they always do. I mean, they run great offense, and they really share the ball, and they've got some guys that have been around, and the Toulson kid, kind of put him on their back there for a while, and we had a hard time guarding him. And then in the end, we just kind of dug down and got a bunch of stops in a row. And then that was a game where offensively, I think we might have scored, 4 of the last 5 possessions or something like that. And, we just had guys step up and make plays. But, they're a good basketball team. They're very well coached. And, they're in a unique situation now with, having the game canceled on Saturday. And obviously I don't know how they've handled that, but it certainly gives them a lot of time to prepare for us.
You guys have made it kind of a habit being able to beat teams twice in a year and sweep regular season series, but when you kind of lay it all out, how difficult is it to beat a team twice?
Well, it's always harder the second time around when you play anybody, regardless if you've beaten them or not, just because everybody's familiar with one another, and you're not getting, many easy baskets anymore. You're not manufacturing as many baskets with your set plays, and, certain individuals being able to go better right or left, or shooter, driver, or what have you. And, everybody has all the information that's required to do a better job of stopping one another. So I always think it's harder the second and third time around. But at the same time, you have that advantage too, so you can look at it as a wash. But, we just try to win every game. I mean, that's our goal. We don't get caught up in trying to beat a team twice or 3 times or whatever the case may be. It's our mentality is to prepare for each game, and our goal is to win each game we play, and that's how we go about doing our business.
What challenges do you think will be presented to you on Thursday, seeing Utah Valley a second time, and some adjustments that you might see from them?
Yeah, obviously I don't know what their adjustments will be. I'm not in their practices or meetings, but I know they'll be well prepared. They've run as good offensive schemes as you'll see. You know, they run great stuff, and they got really good players, and they spread you out defensively. They put a lot of pressure on you prior to the game to figure out how you're going to guard their ball screen, spacing. Obviously, they're players, and you have to make decisions prior to the game, and then you always have to have an adjustment ready as well, because obviously it doesn't always work the way you want it to work defensively. But that's the biggest thing that they pose for problems-wise. It's just they're so good offensively, and they run such really, really good stuff. And then they're tough-minded. I mean, they got kids that play really hard, and they seem to have a good, connectiveness to them. And, I know they're going to be, biting at the bit to play with having their games canceled. And like I said earlier, I mean, I'm assuming, obviously they'll have more time to prepare for us.
Can you talk about Queen's progression to get to the point where he was on the court at the end of the Bakersfield game, to where you put him in those positions there?
Yeah, it's been a healthy progression. I've never dealt with having someone eligible at Christmas, so it was new territory for me too. And I didn't know if we were going to get him eligible, and so even when he got here and started practicing, he was always on the scout team. He was never with me, and it wasn't like we were. We knew he was going to become eligible, so learning all the stuff and the terminology and the sets and the system wasn't as big a priority, because we had so many other new players that we had to deal with and that we knew were going to be eligible. And so it was a unique situation, and he's handled it great. Obviously, once we realized he was eligible, time, we spent a lot of time with him and off the court trying to get him up to speed and just make his learning curve a little bit steeper. But he's handled it great, and I think everybody that's been coming to the games and seen us play all year long has seen the potential. I've talked about it in this room with you guys before, and he just oozes with potential. He's got that live body, and he's got springs in his legs, and he's got size, and that's the one thing, we've been lacking on the perimeter is size, and, he has that, and he's got the athletic ability. I don't think he's ever been asked to defend. He's always been at places where he was a leading scorer, and it wasn't even close. And a lot of times in those situations, those kids are basically told not to foul. We need you in the game. And they guard the other team's, worst player around their position. And that's kind of, I don't know, everywhere he's played, but from what I do know, that's kind of been the case with him. And so it's been a learning process for him to understand that you have to defend and rebound around here. And it was a struggle at first, but he's bought in, and I wouldn't call him a great defender right now, but he's gotten a lot better, where obviously I trust him to the point where, he's in the game, in pivotal times, and certainly down the stretch. And his confidence is probably the best thing. He's got a lot of confidence in himself, and I think with after the results that he's had recently, that confidence will be just sky high going forward.
What did you see from Yvonne, and how important is practice this week to have him back in rhythm Thursday?
It was nice to get the word Saturday afternoon that he was going to give it a go, and obviously, I thought from where I sat that, and I expected this, he was going to try to get it all back, and he played so well against him last time, and, he's been sitting out for 3 games, and he wants to get out there, and he had targeted it in his mind that he was going to be back that game. I never talked to him about it. I stay away from that stuff, and they tell me when people are available, and we go with who they tell us, and but he was excited to play, and certainly he wasn't 100%. But I did think that he was a little antsy and a little quick with trying to score the ball and kind of get it all back. But it was nice to have him out there. His line doesn't look very impressive, but he was running, he was defending, he was taking space up. He was provides another strong body around there for us. And so we're hopeful that that'll kind of get him going, and then obviously he'll have all week to get back to 100% or close to 100%, and we're hoping by the weekend that he's back to where he was before the injury.
With the 2-game lead, it was, I know that you're not going to say, like, we have the league wrapped up or whatever, but can you, look, you follow the rest of the conference, so, like, how comfortable do you feel at this stage with a couple weeks left with the 2-game lead? And a bunch of
I know it's
games?
coach speak, but we haven't talked about that at all. We didn't talk about it prior to the game as a team. We didn't talk about it post-game as a team. We certainly celebrated that win, deservingly so. but we're really just going to focus on Utah Valley. And then on Friday, we're going to try to gear up to play Seattle. And I think if you do that, you'll put yourself in good position, and, you won't play mind games with yourself and start focusing and thinking about the wrong stuff. But at the same time, like you said, we all follow the league. The kids do too, and we know where we're at. But there's more out there for us, and more importantly, we've got to get better. We've got to continue to learn from these mistakes. And I sound like a broken record, but fortunately, it's true. Is we're still not there. We've got a long way to go, and we've got enough time that hopefully we can get there. But this past weekend, we made steps in the right direction. Just like I said, the previous homestand, we got better, and we got better this weekend. And hopefully we'll continue to have that mindset and that approach. And if we do, then we can win some more games and put ourselves in position to hopefully be playing our best, when we head to Vegas. And that's certainly the ultimate goal.
Is that the motivation for these guys in these next 6 league games is knowing kind of what's on the table and not getting too far ahead when you start thinking about conference tournament a month away?
I hope so. But I'm not in their minds. You'd have to ask them to get their opinion. But certainly, that will be the attitude of us, and we're certainly going to talk to them about it. And this group's been really good that way. They really are pretty focused at the task at hand, and they don't get too caught up in all that stuff. But I fully expect them to be ready to go this afternoon, and we'll watch the video of Grand Canyon like we always do, and talk about the good, bad, and the ugly, and then we'll pop the Utah Valley film in, and we'll start 100% focus on them. And I expect them to certainly have a bounce in their step today, but at the same time understand that the target just got bigger. And Utah Valley's coming in here in second place. And so obviously that makes it even a bigger game, and hopefully we'll have a good week of preparation and be ready to go.
Talk about lines and the way that these guys have always had a really positive outlook and just the mentality of this team. Can you speak a little bit more to that, especially considering it's February and you're still going with 12, 13, 14-man rotations?
Yeah, certainly, our depth is something that's been talked about all year long, and it's a unique situation. I think Saturday was the first time we only played 10 guys, and it wasn't like by design. It's just that's the way it went that particular game. We may have a game we play 9, but then again, we may have a game we play all 14. A lot of it's dictated by, the previous practices, and then certainly when the guys get in the game, how productive they're being, if they're going to continue to play more minutes. But, this group likes each other. They're a lively group. Every day I walk in that locker room before video, I can hear them around the corner, regardless if we won or lost. Kids are resilient that way. If we're coming off a loss, the older guys in the program, like myself and the rest of the coaches, are still pretty down about it, but they bounce back pretty quickly, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing. We should learn from those guys and their youth. But they're a fun group to be around. They truly like each other, and when we have guys that don't play, I watch them, and they pick each other up. They know who's not playing. They know who's not playing as many minutes as they would like, and they're really good about being there for one another. And we don't talk about it. We don't ask them to do that. They're doing it because they care for one another. And most of them have been in that situation at some point this year where, they didn't get off the bench, or they didn't play as many minutes as they wanted, and they knew how it felt when their partner came and helped them out. And I love seeing that, and I think it's one of the main reasons why we've been able to play, this style of basketball this particular season, because of the guys helping each other and getting them through, those games or those period of games where they're not playing as much as they'd like.